I cleaned the whole house, turned off the kitchen light, and was heading back to my bedroom when I heard someone calling my name. I turned back and said, "What? Yes, Mom." Jungkook told me he would be late tonight. He called you? Yeah, he did. Don't wait for him. Get some sleep. Vine nodded, looking disappointed, and Mrs. Chan headed to her room, while Vine went to hers. Vaughn entered her bedroom, switching off the bedside light. As she settled under the blanket, about to sleep, but she sensed someone's presence. Her heart racing, she flipped the light back on. She panicked, seeing standing there Josh. He was 6 feet tall, with broad shoulders and long brown hair, making her feel uneasy. His dark eyes looked onto hers, sending shivers down her spine. Were you here? She got off the bed, immediately getting tense and nervous, like he would eat her. But he answered her calmly, even though he was seeing her tension. Cool one. I came into your room by mistake. I thought it was mine, not my brother's. She didn't believe what he said because it was a lie. Leave. This isn't your room. Yeah, the room isn't mine. But once upon a time you were mine. Winked at her, licking his bottom lip. Remember the sister-in-law? He said as if it was a sweet dream, but she swallowed as if it was a trauma. Will you leave the room or not? Why do you want me to leave? As if I could eat you alive? I just want to keep my sister-in-law company for a while. Saying that, he came toward her. Biting his lip, she stepped back, telling him not to come closer, but he didn't listen. When he was about to lean in, she pushed him back. Will you leave or should I call your mom right now? He raised his hands in a surrender pose, stepping back as if he really was scared, giving a nasty smile. Oh, cool one. I just got worried when I heard my brother would be late home. But you are looking at me like a monster. No one needs your concern here. Please leave, or I'll have to call both of your parents. I'm going. Saying that, he stepped back toward the doorway, not taking his eyes off her. In his mind, he thought, I'll see you next time. Then he left. She immediately locked the door as if he might come back. Leaning her head against the doorframe, she closed her eyes, regretting her past with him. 5 years ago, Josh and Vaughn were classmates. One day, Josh proposed to her, but she rejected him. But he didn't give up easily through stubbornness and some tricks. He managed to make her accept his proposal. One day, he took her on a long drive, and during that time, he attempted to make out with her, but she didn't agree to it, and he didn't listen, saying she was always keeping her distance from him and that he needed to her anyway. He tried to force her himself on her that day, but she escaped from him, even broke up with him. And after 5 years, Vaughn and Jungkook recently got married in an arranged marriage. It was only then that Vaughn got to know Josh is Jungkook's younger brother. That was when Vaughn realized something else. Josh hadn't given up on his desires for her. She noticed his intentions through the way he looked at her tight. But he was clear and maintained a polite manner in front of his parents and brother. So, no one became suspicious of him. He tried to touch her inappropriately many times, but she faced him as best as she could, even though she was scared. She couldn't tell anyone because Josh pretended she was like a sister to him in front of them. She wanted to tell Jungkook about his brother, but stopped herself for one reason. Also, Josh used to blackmail her, threatening her, as if his brother could find out she was his ex. Jungkook would hate her. This left her feeling trapped and helpless. An hour later, Vaughn was asleep. When she heard knocking sounds, she hesitated to open the door, but she felt relief when she saw Jungkook. He was passing by, loosening his necktie and unbuttoning his suit jacket. He looked at her with a tired expression. Did I disturb your sleep, Vaughn? He asked calmly, noticing her sleepy face. But she shook her head. I can see I disturbed your sleep. Go back to sleep and take a bath. It's okay. I'll heat up the dinner for you, Chanko. No, I had my dinner at work. You should sleep. I'll take a warm shower for a relief. Saying that, he walked into the bathroom. Vaughn got onto the bed, laying down on one side, leaving space for him, then closed her eyes. Few minutes later, Jungkook came out of the bathroom, wiping his hair with a towel, seeing that she was already asleep. He put on his pajama pants and got into the bed onto the other side, not wearing a shirt, and lay down next to his wife, leaving there was a gap between them. But he noticed her eyebrows were furrowed. He lay down next to her, sensing that she was freezing, which made it clear to him that she hadn't fallen asleep. Vaughn, are you having any trouble? Hearing his voice, she opened her eyes when she saw him shirtless next to her. She pressed her lips into a thin line, her face turning red. I'm asking you something. Nothing. She was blushing because there had been no physical intimacy between them, even though they were married. Jungkook had told her he was busy with work and needed a month to handle his work forward. So she agreed. They would have been sleeping in the same bed every night since they got married, but not physically close. She would give him his space and he would do the same for her. Before sleeping, she would ask how his work was going on and share in his tightness by listening to him. This was also why she hadn't told him about George. Jungkook was struggling with his overload, and she was waiting for him to be free so she could tell him everything. Why are you shuddering? He looked confused, but she shook her head and smiled awkward. Really, it's nothing, Jungkook. Okay, good night. She turned to face the other side, preparing to sleep, but suddenly felt her hand grip his wrist, making him laugh. Vaughn, is there something you need? Can I hold your hand while I sleep tonight? He didn't say anything or pull his hand away. Please, Jungkook. She asked to feel better because she was getting uneasy, her mind wandering back to Josh's stairs. When she said please, Jungkook held her hand in return, blinking his eyes as a sign of agreement. She smiled and closed her eyes. Seeing her smile, he closed his eyes and fell asleep. The next day morning, his parents and Jungkook, his brother, were having breakfast. Warren sat beside Jungkook, serving some breakfast on a plate. Joe smirked when he saw her, his eyes hungry as they lingered on her. She sensed his gaze and looked at him, and then he winked. She responded with a disgusted expression. Warren, didn't you like the breakfast? Nothing is wrong. I'm eating. She continued eating, ignoring George. Mom and Dad, I need to go on a business trip for a big project. Jungkook, you are working too much hard. Spend some time with your wife too. Then Jungkook looked at his wife for a second and found her already gazing at him. They locked eyes, unblinking, but one suddenly felt a shiver down her spine, and her eyes flinched and breaking eye contact with Jungkook, and she looked down, her gaze falling under the table, where Josh's leg was brushing against hers, his left hand resting on her thumb. She got up from the chair, wanting to shout at him, but the words cut in her throat. What's wrong? Nothing. She left without eating. Jungkook didn't understand anything, but Joe smirked at her departing figure while munching on his food. Well, Jungkook, after this project, you should take your wife on your honeymoon. Josh can handle the business while you are away. What, me? No, I can't. Josh, you need to start working too. You have been saying you are feeling unwell, staying at home. But Jungkook is shouldering your responsibilities and not taking a single day off. It's okay, I'll manage. What your father said is correct. Jungkook, your brother needs to start taking responsibilities too. Okay, I'll go and tell one. He got up and headed to the room. How shameless can Josh be? I want to tell Jacob, but he is already taken with work. I'll wait until he finishes his project. Just a few more days. I'll be patient. Just then Jungkook walked into the room. It was suddenly arranged, and I found out about it last night. But I forgot to tell you. I'm leaving today, and I'll be back within 5 days. Okay. She said it simply, but her eyes conveyed a different message. You might feel like I can take you with me on trip, but if I do, you might feel unwanted since I'll be busy with meetings and presentations. I understand. I'll prepare your luggage and everything you need. Jungkook nodded. Vaughn was entering her bedroom, took night out pajamas from the closet and taking off her jacket. As she prepared to take a shower, she was about to undress. When she realized she hadn't locked the door, as she turned quickly to go and lock it, she was startled to find Joe standing there, his gaze burning with lust. She screamed and tried to grab her jacket to cover herself, but Josh was too quick. He pushed her onto the bed, silencing her scream by covering her mouth. Don't scream. Your husband is not home. Let me have you just for tonight. She was crying and trying to push him, but wanting to scream, but no use. He was locking her arms over her head and started ripping her skirts, forcing himself on her, not caring about her crying. You thought I would leave you, didn't you? But no, you were mine before Jungkook married you. She bit his hand and screamed, tears streaming down her face. Mom, help! Where were you? He slapped her, his anger boiled over. She's gone now, shut up and take this. He continues to manhandle her body while leaving bites on her neck while she's squirming under him. But he flinched when his mom's voice echoed there. Josh! He let go of Ryan's hands and get off started to trembling as he saw Mrs. John's arrival. Mom, I thought you went out. She slapped him before he could say another word. She slapped him again and again, overlain by heartbreak. How could you think of ruining your sister-in-law? She was holding back her tears, but Josh, who was speaking, showed his crocodile tears. Mom, please forgive me. It was an accident. I didn't mean to do it intentionally. Please don't tell Dad and my brother. He was crying as he left. Mr. John then went to Vaughn, but then Vaughn was in a panic, crying with her hand covering her mouth. Vaughn, please don't cry. Vaughn hugged her in panic, crying. I'm ashamed of him. I never thought Josh could look at you like that. How could he suddenly do this? It's all my fault, Mom. I've stayed silent since the marriage. What? Vaughn told her everything, and Mrs. John, slightly angered, and scolded Vaughn. Why didn't you tell us? I was waiting for Jungkook to finish his portion. He said he was having a hard time, was stressed. So I didn't want to disturb him, Mom. That's why I'm hiding it. Mrs. John wiped her tears, feeling ashamed. It's not good to hide or stay silent in your own home. But we will wait until Jungkook comes, okay? As you say, Mom. I'll go now. Mom, please stay in this room until Jungkook's come back. Mrs. John, understanding Vaughn's fear, and nodded. Since then, Vaughn hasn't left her mother-in-law's side. Whatever Mrs. John went for her after the incident, Vaughn was very disturbed, and George couldn't get close to her, as she was always with his mom. Days passed on the fourth day. Vaughn was cleaning the dining table after dinner when she heard a familiar voice behind her. She turned back and her mind blank, saw Jungkook smiling at her, scratching the back of his neck. I'm back one. Her eyes sparkled with tears at Jungkook. His smile faded. One, are you okay? She tried to speak, shaking her head, but George interrupted. Wow, brother, you're home? How did the project go? I secured the deal with Mr. Kim. That's great, but go and tell Dad right now. He's worried. Okay, I'll go tell him now. Jungkook left to find his father, leaving Wan alone with his George. Wan tried to leave, but George blocked her path, stretching his leg out like a barrier. Look, don't dare to tell him. If you really don't want me to. Her eyes widened, started. Josh's warning silenced her, sending George down her spine. Sensing her fear, George knew she wouldn't dare speak up, and he left for his room. Jungkook took a shower and came into the room, wearing only pants. He saw that Wan was already asleep on the bed, and he was confused. It's just 8 p.m. Why is she in the bed already? Did she forget that now my month-long stressful work is over, and I wanted to spend time with her finally? Jungkook got on the bed. Before lying down, he didn't try to sleep. He was just staring at her back, admiring her. He wanted to see her face, so he raised his body slightly and peeked at her face over her shoulder. He was shocked to see that she wasn't sleeping. She was just lying down with her eyes closed. He knew this because her eyebrows were moving under her eyelashes, as if she were thinking about something or feeling tense. One. She heard him but didn't respond as she was too lost in her thoughts. Then he called her a bit louder. One, you didn't sleep. Open your eyes. She opened her eyes and looked over her shoulder and saw him looking at her. He then smiled at her. Why are you pretending to be asleep? I'm not. Then what was you thinking? You didn't even wait for me to talk to you after I came back? She bit her lip, trying to control herself from saying anything. Suddenly he touched her shoulder, which made her panic. He pulled her back, making her lie down on her back, and then he moved closer to her. You are okay, right? She nodded hesitantly. He then smiled at her while hovering over her. Fine. I want to make love with you tonight then. She was shocked, her breathing heavily as she gazed at Jungkook in panic. But her fear wasn't because of Jungkook, but because of Josh. Jungkook leaned over her, giving kisses on the corner of her neck. She closed her eyes, but instead of feeling pleasure, she felt shivers, trying to appear normal. She closed her eyes, but she wasn't feeling well. Flashbacks of forced scenes began to scaring her. She burst into tears, pushing Jungkook back. Please don't stop it. He looked confused and backed off from her. I'm sorry, please don't cry. I didn't mean to make you cry. She didn't open her eyes, still crying. Then Jungkook started panting, thinking he scared her and overstepped. Please stop, I'm scared. Don't force me. Well, what are you talking about? I'm your husband. I would never force you. He gently shook her, making her eyes open, and she saw his face, her own eyes welling up with tears. Why are you panting? I just wanted to make love with you, not force myself on you. Jungkook gripped her shoulders, making her sit up straight, wiped away her tears. Why aren't you speaking? He cupped her face and asked, but her hunted gaze revealed her inner panic. One, you are hiding something? Tell me right now, what's bothering you? When he asked seriously, she burst into tears and hugged him. At first, Jungkook hesitated, but soon held her close, sensing her fear and wondering what had triggered her such fear. She told him everything, leaving out no incidents, explaining why she couldn't reveal it all before and why she had kept it hidden. Jungkook couldn't believe what he was hearing, and he had to believe her. She was his wife, and he witnessed her genuine fear. He broke the hug and got off the bed and grabbed her hand, taking her with him, not even saying anything. His serious expression unsettled. She thought maybe Jungkook didn't believe her. In the living room, Jungkook's anger poured over as she shouted. Josh, Josh, get down just now. His father rushed out of his room, confused by Jungkook's yelling, but he was confused more by Ryan's tear-stained face and Jungkook's furious expression. Why are you shouting? Did your wife cry? Wait is that? Who forced my wife when I wasn't home? Mrs. John, understanding that one had confidence in Jungkook. He is on the terrace. That's all Jungkook needed to hear. Jungkook left with violence, fueled by anger. Mr. John was puzzled. Jungkook saw Josh smoking and drinking, but his attention snapped to his brother's sudden roar from behind. How dare you force my wife? Did she even tell him? See what your husband does when someone dares to touch your wife. Ryan remained silent, stunned by his death. Without any other words, Jungkook released Ryan's hand and charged at Josh, and he started punching Josh's face with fist before Josh could even rise from his seat. Jungkook's parents arrived shocked to see Josh trying to defend himself as Jungkook beat him up. His dad tried to stop Jungkook, but he was too hard to handle, so his dad pushed him back and separating them. Jungkook was about to hit Josh again, but his dad wouldn't let him, defending Josh instead. Jungkook, stop. He's your brother. How can you beat him like that? He is no brother of mine. He tried to force himself on my wife when I wasn't home. What? No, I can't believe it. I didn't. Josh isn't that type. I saw it with my own eyes. Dear, Josh tried to rape her. You should believe Jungkook now. Mr. John's eyes widened as he looked at Wan, who was trembling with fear, holding back her tears, and nodded. That was all. Without another thought, he turned and punched Josh, leaving him shocked. Dad, please, shut up. I apologize to your sister-in-law first. Josh wiped the blood from the corner of his lip and lowered his head in shame. I'm sorry, Wan. Not Wan says sorry, sister-in-law. I'm sorry, sister-in-law. Now, get out of my home. He gripped Josh's neck, pushing him forward. Josh burst into tears. Please, Dad, let me stay with you. Who is Dad here to? Wan looked confused. When my brother passed away. Because you are his son. But how you repaid us? Lost dragon fool. Please, I'm sorry, forgive me. You're fine and cut off from our family. Leave now, never come back. If you don't, I'll call the police. Josh walked away, tears streaming down his face. Mrs. John gently took her husband's hand, calming him. Mr. John avoided eye contact with Wan, but turned to Jungkook. Jungkook, I'm sorry. I didn't believe you at first. I promise you both. That what happened will never happen again. Mr. John and his wife left, leaving the two alone. Jungkook turned Wan to face him and hugged her, saying nothing. Wan slowly hugged him back weakly. After a moment, he pulled back. You should have told me everything. I'm sorry, Jungkook. He messed my head from the start. I was too scared to share. Jungkook held her arms, his eyes locked on hers. That's why I beat him in front of you. So you would be free from your fear and panic. Did it work? Are you still afraid of him? No, Jungkook, I'm totally fine. And I'm sure he will never dare to come to me again. That's what I wanted. He gently pecked her forehead, closing his eyes in relief.